anyone know the tiny URL that we have?
It's on Facebook.
John, it's all for you.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, awesome. Hello, BBYO, and welcome to our BBYO live call discussing our unique relationships with our homeland. BBYO Live is a series of online calls between teens from around the world. These calls are a global conversation that cover different topics that are broadcasted for the world to see.
BBYO Live is run by the Global Networking Committee, the GNC, which is a branch of the International Leadership Network that works on promoting, spreading, and increasing global connections among teens throughout the international order.
As we mentioned, today's call will be centered around Israel. BBYO may be our home, but Israel is our homeland, and we are thrilled today to be joined by other teens from around the world to explore the connections and sometimes confusion that we feel. When we ask the group a question, we want to hear your answer too. If you have a question for us, let us know. You can join the conversation by tweeting using the hashtag BBYOLive. Now, let's meet our panelists. First up, we're going to have Shani.
Hi, I'm Shani Cohen. I'm 18. I'm from Maccabi Tzair, and I live in Israel.
Johnny.
Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm from GMR, or Chicago, of BBYO. I'm 17, and I've been to Israel twice, and I have a good connection with Israel.
Isamar.
Hi everyone, I'm Itamar. I'm 17 years old. I'm half Israeli, half Finnish. I've lived 6 years in Israel, and I'm from BBYO, Finland.
Eden Notowich.
Hi guys, my name is Dina. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, in Cotton States region. I'm 17 years old. I'm the 27th International Shlicha, and I have a pretty good connection to Israel. I had my bat mitzvah there, and I've been there 3 times, and I'm going to college there for a year.
Emmy.
Hi there, I'm Sam Trupp. I am from BBYO, UK Ireland. I am the national guest today, and basically my connection to Israel is I used to live there on a kibbutz for 9 weeks, been quite a few times, and I just generally like advocating for Israel, making sure that people learn about, what's going on there.
Carly.
Hi, I'm Carly. I'm from Lake Ontario region, which is in Canada, and I've never been to Israel, so my connection is just the fact that I'm Jewish and it's considered the Jewish state. That's about it.
And I'm Josh from Atlanta. I haven't been to Israel either, except I'm active in BBYO and advocating for Israel, so that's my connection to Israel. I really think it is important to start off by understanding our connections to Israel. And our call today is inspired by the Chicago-based iCenter's work on Israel education. In their Olive Plant of Education, they discuss the importance of understanding Israel's unique, multifaceted self. This includes Medinat Yisrael, the state of Israel, Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, and Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel. The contemporary state of Israel and its people, the historic and religious connection to the land, and the ongoing link between the land, the state, and Am Yisrael. The educator, Zohar Raviv, teaches us that even the word Israel, in the phrase of Israel education, is a complicated term and connotates multiple meanings. So which version of Israel resonates with you? Is the relationship that created with Israel, the land, the people, or the state? Why is that? So does anybody have any answers? And at this point, for everybody watching, if you have any questions or answers, go on Twitter, use the hashtag BBYOLive. But any panelists have any answers for that?
I'll go ahead. For me, I really connect with the people of Israel. My first time in Israel, I think it was the 3rd or 4th day, I was walking around Tel Aviv, and I looked around and realized that majority of the people around me, or almost everyone, was Jewish. And it really made me feel very different because I was able to openly wear a kippah around Israel. I was able to feel home with people that I can connect to, and ever since then I've had a deeper connection with Israel where I've wanted to advocate for the people of Israel, not just because I'm Jewish, but because I connect with the people there.
That's awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't.
Thank you, Sam. For me, I don't. I think it's pretty hard to answer because I see all of them as important. But maybe the nation thing, I think, because you really the people who I connect most of when I'm not maybe in Israel and I see an Israeli guy somewhere, I really have like this strong connection with them. I think the Israeli nation and the Jewish nation is a thing that it's really, really important. And the state and the land are things that can sometimes change throughout time, and so they're not things that are always there. The nation is always there, so it's never changing, and I think the nation is the most important thing.
Yep. Should I go?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, I think lots of people identify with Israel through the whole idea of like, oh, religious homeland and like, it's our home, which it is, and like, I absolutely love that because like, you like, and whatnot. But I like sort of the culture of Israel. Like, it's like even geographically, like, from like really cold in the north, like with all these mountains, like down to like really nice like beaches in Eilat. It's all good there, and like, I don't know if like you guys know Hadag Nachash, but like. I'm a fan, like just listening to like Israeli music, Israeli food. Who doesn't like shawarma, schnitzel? It's all good. So when I identify with Israel, it's just their culture, their way of life, and the fact that even though there might be wars going on, at least they can have a good time.
Anybody have anything else to add?
I do. I would say I'm actually very connected to the land itself. It has changed over time, but something that I find is so amazing is like I have family there, and they have like wild peacocks in their backyard, and that's just something that's always blown my mind. The peacocks are really mean, but that's beside the point. And then like I can go 30 minutes outside of like where they live, and I'm like in a completely different terrain in a different area, and a place that used to just be complete desert for like the majority was like developed and turned into agricultural space, and like drip irrigation, for example, is like ridiculously amazing. And the idea that like we as a whole, I'm very nature, fun fact, you can tell from my water bottle, I really like nature and things of those kinds. But the way that Israel develops itself through its land, I think, shapes the way the people and the culture and the nation as a whole come from because of the land. It makes them who they are. But I find that really cool.
So we have a question coming in from Twitter, specifically for you, Dina. Has your term as international shlicha helped you to enhance your connection with Israel? This is coming from Hugan Menaki.
Let me think for a moment. I wouldn't say it's my term that I've served here, but rather the experiences I've had while serving on this term. Like I went right at the very beginning to Israel with Joey, actually, on ILSI, which is an amazing, amazing summer program where I learned a lot about Israel from a lot of different perspectives on a lot of different people, and it was really enriching and informative and amazing, and I highly recommend it, side note. But I wouldn't say it's rather like I'm sorry, the question was can you repeat the question?
Dina, do you feel that your term as international shlicha has helped to enhance your connection with Israel?
Thank you. I'd say it hasn't enhanced my connection, but it's enhanced my understanding of other people's connections, because a part of my job is Israel advocacy, and for all of my counterparts, that means a different thing. So I tailor to their needs and what they want and what everybody in BBYO wants and needs in a holistic approach. So it's not necessarily about what I want, but rather what everybody needs as a whole from a pluralistic youth movement, which is really cool. I like that about BBYO. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next question. So BBYO has a long history with Israel, including BBYO recognizing the state of Israel ahead of the declaration made by David Ben-Gurion on Shabbat in Tel Aviv. On that day, David Ben-Gurion read, "We, members of the People's Council, representative of the Jewish community in Eretz Israel, by virtue of our natural and historic right, hereby declare the establishment of a Jewish state in Eretz Israel to be known as the State of Israel. So the question is, what do you believe David Ben-Gurion meant when he said we have a natural right to the land of Israel? So who wants to go first? Yeah, you can just start talking.
Was that me, or do you want somebody else to do?
You.
Oh, cool. All right. So, I think this is a really difficult question. Not gonna lie. You know, without being too political or anything, I'm just gonna go along the lines of, like, there's the old historical ties thing, which we all have. So, you know, if it's Jerusalem is obviously a big one. Cave of Machpelah, all of that stuff. So there's a lot going on in Israel, which definitely brings us to it. I think that is probably the biggest reason why he would suggest we have a natural right to Israel. That's probably what I would agree with. I mean, it would make more sense to go to Israel than, was it Ethiopia or something like that? So, I mean, there we go. In terms of politics, I don't want to say too much because, like, yeah. But yeah, that's what I think.
So more religious speaking, we are known as a chosen people, and it was originally our homeland, and obviously other people have lived on the land of Israel since the diaspora, and now we see more people returning to Israel who are Jewish, and from the at first it was our land, and obviously other people still live there, and we have a right to live there. And without getting into the political debate, other people also have the right to live there just based on living there since we left. So as long as there's peace, I think we have a right to live there on the land that is known as Israel, and nowhere else should we be forced to live.
Okay. Carly, so there's another question from Twitter. Carly, you're on mute.
Sorry. This is from Sam Lawrence, and the question is, what do you think about the idea that our generation is encountering anti-Semitism in another form, in anti-Israel / anti-Zionism? So that's an answer for anyone.
Can you repeat that?
The question is, what do you think about the idea that our generation is encountering anti-Semitism in the form of anti-Israel and anti-Zionism, instead of directly at the necessarily Jewish people, but it's more as the state, the Jewish state?
Like with a lot of BDS sort of things and protests against Israel and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Also, an answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a story. My friend of mine who was at high school. We have this one history course when we go through all kind of international bonds with different nations, and then they were talking about Israel and Palestine, and then the teacher herself was saying that what are the Jewish doing to the Palestine at this moment is the same as what they did to what the Nazis do to the Jewish at the Holocaust. So that's like she gave up notes to the pupils, saying that the Jewish, as when she was referring to the Israeli state, she was referring them as the Jewish people. And so I have a lot of Jewish, not Israeli friends here in Finland, and they a lot of time have been facing this anti-Israel and then anti-Zionism, and then it's being a lot of them don't even actually know the difference between. They don't see the difference between Israelis and Jewish. So I think that's a very bad thing.
So to touch upon it, I think it's a very important issue within the United States, at least, because on many college campuses, there's the BDS movement that's really a lot has grown so much over the past few years, and I know for a lot of college students who are Jewish, they have received backlash. Um, BDS stands for boycott, divest, and I'm not sure what S stands for. Does anyone know?
Boycott, divestment, sanctions.
And it's really a movement that's anti-Israel throughout all college campuses, but now a lot of people face anti-Semitism through that, and I think it's important to note that you don't have to be Jewish to love Israel. I know plenty of people who support Israel and are not Jewish, and you don't have to. If you're Jewish, does not mean you support Israel. It might be your homeland, but you might not support it. And I know that from the world perspective, Israel isn't always correct with everything they do, like any country, and I think it's important to note that. But we, as our generation is growing up with more people anti-Zionism and anti-Semitic, like we need to be able to stand up and be correct with how we're doing everything, keep it nonviolent, and also just know our facts to prevent more of like the spread of this movement.
And I think that also bringing it back to actually the first question is that often people don't separate the state of Israel, like the government of Israel, from Jews and from citizens of Israel, because there are plenty of people that don't necessarily agree with what is happening between Israel and Gaza and all that kind of stuff. And I think that people just kind of generalize everybody's opinion just because of their religion or their nationality.
I want to touch back on the question we just had about what do you think about the idea that our generation is encountering anti-Semitism, in another form of anti-Israel / anti-Zionism. I think, personally for me, I go to public school in the United States, and a thing that, like in world history class that you are required to take in high school, we stop at like the modern, we don't talk about like Israel and its establishment. Like we stop at World War II and there, and we don't, like, you're never taught. You're never being educated about like the formation of Israel from the beginning. So when you go to college and you hear about boycott, divestment, sanctions, and an apartheid state, like it's the moment of we're not educating from the beginning. We might be failing.
Sammy has stuff to say. Yeah? Yeah, okay, cool. So I think when we're talking about all of this anti-Zionism, anti-Israel stuff, I think like we've got to sort of find where it all stems from, because, you know, we can all sort of say, you know, that, for example, Gaza fire rockets and things like that, and yes, there are certain things wrong with Israel as well, which like I think we need to highlight, such as like, you know, there is the big question of like settlements in the West Bank, whether they're good or not. Generally, like two-state solution, what should we do with that? And I think that once we know what Israel's problems are, we actually need to sort of, you know, hold them to account to such things, and actually that should be like what we do as part of our activism, you know, like not just say, yeah, we love Israel, like this, that, and the other, but if we really want to tackle the problem, like we've got to tackle the problems in Israel that's allowing these anti-Zionist people to have an argument. Like, you know, maybe it is a two-state solution that's needed, but it's just the idea that we've got to sort of tackle that problem, and then from there work towards sort of peace. Whether we can get peace is a whole nother kettle of fish. You know, it's not that simple, but at least it's a start, other than just saying, you know, that's that, like they're going to be anti-Zionist, so we should just shout back at them or something. Let's be sort of like, let's actually tackle this in the right way, systematically. Yeah.
Yeah, does anybody else have anything to say?
You should all move to Israel. You don't feel the anti-Israel, anti-Zionism here. It's just the way you live.
Well, and everybody, Toda Rabah, and thank you, panelists, for this amazing conversation.
But
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Carly, you are mute again if you were trying to say something.
Thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate it, all viewers, and this will also be on YouTube afterwards.
If any of the viewers or panelists want to get more involved with GNC and go global, you can speak to your local Mazkirim or staff if you don't have a team-led board, or you can email gncbbyo@gmail.com. The Heat Route. Thank you guys so much for joining us, both viewers and panelists.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
bye-bye. You could. Can you stay on here? Can we like having a fun chat or no?